This is the Louie Tee Network. Hey, either you're outside or you're
in the lab room.
Who else could it be? Me, your me, Louie Tee. Welcome, you are in the lab room. Of course, I am your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. The fourth and final day of the 2016 NFL Scouting Combine, and I must say, I enjoyed it thoroughly because it was a relaxed day, only two groups. I didn't feel like I was overwhelmed with a bunch of content and information. And then you knew you had the run, rich run at the end, so they were kind of leaning towards that towards the end. So it's a really chill day for day four, and as a guy that's covered just about all of the Combine and every second of it, and let me say this while I'm on that subject matter, this is what I do. I watch 6 to 7 hours of the Combine, so you don't have to. Remember that. I always tell you that, but I just want to reinforce that. And this day was a little bit less than that. Right around about 5 hours, they cut the coverage short so they could do the run, rich run at the end. And it was just a chill day, just two groups. So Group 10, Group 11, all consisting of defensive backs, the final day of the Combine. Let's jump into Group 10. To me, the more star-studded of the group. And by far, they performed way better on the day than Group 11 did. Much faster, much more athletic guys in Group number 10. And I think, to be fair, I think they had more corners in their group than Group 11 did. I think that group had more safeties in it. And it's all alphabetical order, so it's not like they actually split this up with some other rhyme or reason. It was just alphabetically that more corners came up first in the alphabet than the safeties did, and they were later on in the day in Group 11. So we missed a couple of guys that weren't able to perform. I was looking forward to seeing Von Bell. No Von Bell. Of course, we knew about Mackenzie Alexander. That was a little disappointing, but again, you want guys to perform at maximum peak, and he wasn't there. So no Mackenzie Alexander, no Carl Joseph. We already knew that going into the process as well. So, and also no Jeremy Cash. So a number of guys weren't able to perform in day number 10, day number 4 of the Combine with the group number 10. And all of those guys would have been in Group 10. So that group was really going to be star-studded had everyone been able to participate. But jumping into this group, you start with Eli Apple. Here's a guy out of Ohio State, 6 foot plus, 199. And I thought that he came out and did some things that I didn't see coming. I didn't know what the speed was, so I was looking forward to that. But I also didn't know how good his hands were. Okay, I didn't really question a lot of the things like change of direction and all of that. I saw that on tape with Eli Apple, and some of the things that I have problems with, you can't gauge at the Combine. But for him to go out and run a 4.4 flat, okay, that checks a box that I had questions about. And for him to go out and catch the football the way that he did, I had no problems with Eli Apple. In fact, walked away thoroughly impressed. And I actually put down on my list, officially entered the first round today with his performance at the Combine. I thought he was that good. It was Eli Apple, and I thought that he solidified himself as a first round pick with his performance. With that height, that speed, his production at Ohio State, that kind of package all rolled up in one, someone's going to take him in the first round because that's too good to pass up. And he was too good in day 4 of the Combine to pass up as a first rounder. I think Eli Apple helped himself tremendously with his performance. Artie Burns, cornerback out of the U, 6 foot, 193 pounds, 4.46 40. So you see the speed and the athleticism there. Long, athletic cornerback, really good hands showcased at the Combine. I thought he was tight in his hips, in his change of direction. Little unnerving there for me. I would love to see a guy that athletic, be a little bit more fluid in his turns. But that being said, he's a long corner with speed. I think someone's gonna give him an opportunity in this draft to see if he can come in and help them at the next level. A slot corner, Jonathan Jones. Here's a guy, I wasn't gonna write him down, okay? Out of Auburn, 5'10 plus, 186 pounds. I kept watching him. You put the 40 time together with what he did on the field, and there was no way I could leave him off of my list. 4.3340, the fastest time at the Combine in day number 4 for the defensive backs. He's a slot corner that's extremely twitchy, but also tight. Okay, hips are very tight, but you see this from time to time with very twitchy athletes. They can be tight and very tightly wound, which is what I was expecting Emmanuel Ogbah to be, and he wasn't. So that's what I was hoping Jonathan Jones would be, but he was tight. but he's an athlete, as you can tell with the 40 time and his twitchiness, with ball skills. He's gonna get an opportunity at the next level as well, because that's something you can't pass up on, that kind of speed. In the slot, he's gonna try to help someone at the next level as well. Cornerback Vernon Hargreaves III. This is a guy in VH3 that there was nothing you could say to me to change my mind going into the combine. He was already my best corner available in the draft. No doubt about it, hands down for me. I told you he was the most complete cornerback I felt like in the draft when I was talking about him in the Draft Prospects 101 series. So going into this, I didn't really need to see much from him other than, hey, could you run faster than I think that you are? And I came into this, and it's funny because in my notes I put check all of my boxes. Now for Mike Mayock had him pegged at a 4.45 somewhere in there, and I'm like, I didn't see that on tape, Mike. I saw a 4.53 guy because he got beat deep on tape consistently, not consistently, but he got beat. When he got beat, it was deep normally, where he would come up, guys beat him off the line of scrimmage, he didn't have the makeup speed to catch up. So I doubted that he was a sub 4.5 guy, but Mike thought so. He ran a 4.5 flat, which I thought was best case scenario, so I felt good about that. 39-inch vert, 10-10 on the broad. I felt like he had a tremendous day. Showed up a little bit heavier. We were talking about 5'9" for him. He's 5'10 plus, 5'10 and a half, 204. This guy is built to last. I just really like Vernon Hargreaves III, and I think, to me, he's the first cornerback taken off the board. When it's all said and done, to me, he's that guy, and I thought he went out and solidified that today at the Combine. The guy, though, that stole the show for me was the best corner in Group 10 and 11, the best cornerback of the day. To me, he's rising up draft boards as we speak. William Jackson III, out of Houston, had a phenomenal day. To me, what I wrote down in my notes for him was, now we can start the first round discussion. At 6 foot plus, okay? So there's a little bit of extra there. 189 pounds. We knew he could catch the football. The production is there from college, over 20 PBUs last season, 5 interceptions, about 2 or 3 of those to the crib. We saw what he did in the bowl game versus Florida State. We know he can catch the football. Ball skills were never questioned. My question was, how fast are you and how's your change of direction? He checked both of those boxes by running a 4.37. I did not see that coming. I was more along the lines of 4.45. He ran a 4.37. I thought his change of direction, his hands, everything on point, exceptionally well all day long. William Jackson III just put his name in the discussion as a first round pick. And to me, as this process moves along and we get closer to the draft, he'll go from early second, late first, to then middle of the first round, to then you're hearing his name as one of the top corners in this draft. Watch what I'm telling you. If they put on more tape after this performance at the Combine, they're going to put the tape on right now. And when they go put the tape on, they're going to like what they see. They're going to cross-reference it. He's going to end up being a middle of the first round selection. Big day for William Jackson III. He made himself some money in day 4 of the Combine. Cyrus Jones, cornerback out of Alabama. 5'10", 197, 4'4", 940. He's a natural cornerback. And you know, he went to Alabama. Nick Saban is a stickler for cornerbacks. And so I think I saw fluidity out of him. I saw ball skills. We know about the big play he had in the playoff game versus Michigan State that turned that game to pick right before the half. To me, that's what you're getting out of him, a guy that can make plays on the football, fluid athlete. And I'm not sure that he can't play outside. Mike Mayock has pegged him as the best slot corner in his draft. I'm not sure you can't stick this guy outside. I think the size is what scares people. He's 5'9" and some change, 5'9" and 7'8". That's 5'10", people. So 5'10", I'm not sure you can't stick this guy outside. I'm not sure. With 4'4", 940, 4'4", 940 speed, I'm not sure you can't take him outside. I like him a lot, and I'm anxious to see what a team that drafted him does with him, because I think he's a guy that you can potentially stick outside and not necessarily have to stick him in the slot. I think you stick him outside first. If you don't like it, you slide him inside and you keep it moving. He's a good football player either way, and he proved that at the Combine in day number 4. Cornerback Anthony Brown out of Purdue, 5'11", 192, 4.3, 540. To me, his 40 was the highlight of his day. He's a good athlete, but he was very tight. I thought he lacked confidence in the ball drills where he would jump but catch the football down here. What the hell are you jumping for if you're still catching the ball down here? You might as well stay on your damn feet. If you're gonna catch the football, don't jump in the air and then catch it all the way down here by your damn stomach. Catch the football at the highest point, at the peak. If you're jumping, that's the purpose of jumping, not to jump and catch it down here. So he lacks the ball skills to me necessary to have a huge impact at the next level. But with that speed, again, solid size, he's a really good athlete. He's gonna get some looks. He was on a terrible Purdue pass defense, but again, he's gonna get some looks. With that kind of athleticism, it's gonna make people take a second look. I think he's gonna get a shot. I thought he was solid. He wasn't great, but I thought he had an okay day at the combine. Cornerback, safety, hybrid, Sean Davis out of Maryland. He's a 6'1 plus, 201 pound football player that I'm really somewhat intrigued by. 4'4", 640. At 6'1 and some change, 201. 4'4", 640, that's moving. He's a versatile cornerback safety prospect, played both at Maryland. To me, he's stiff, and because he's so stiff, he looks more like a safety than a cornerback. But with a 37.5-inch vertical and a 10.6 broad, I think some teams are gonna look at this guy with that kind of speed and that size. They're gonna try him at corner first. And if they don't like the results there, then I think that's when you see the transition to safety. So I think he's gonna get a look at corner first just because of the measurables. We're looking for the long guys that can play out wide with that kind of speed, with that kind of length, that height. They're gonna wanna try him at cornerback first. And if he can't go there, that's when you make the move to safety. And I think he'll make a really good safety in this league where safeties are now being asked to come over the slot and run with some receivers. He'll be just fine to me in either one of those scenarios. And I thought he had a really good day. I was actually impressed with him. I'm intrigued, wanna see where he's gonna end up and how they try to use Sean Davis. TJ Green, another one of these intriguing guys. Here's another one of these guys that's really big and really fast. I thought Group 10 was littered with athletes, and to me, he was one of the most impressive in terms of athleticism. 6'2 plus, 209, 4'3", 440. The dude was flying the second fastest time of anybody of the DBs on Thursday, so guy was moving. He's an ex-receiver turned safety, only 1 year of starter, only 1 year of being a starter at Clemson, so to me, he's very raw. He's big, stiff, okay, saw some stiffness, but he's an athletic safety to me that has really good ball skills. I'm intrigued by whoever takes this guy as to what they do with him, what they ask him to do, because if you work with this guy and give him some time and don't give up on him too quick, with that kind of size, 6'2", pushing 6'3", 210 pounds, 4'3", 440, come on, man. Someone's gonna take a flyer on this guy and try to, he smells like a Seattle Seahawk to me. I'm not gonna lie to you. Smells like a Seahawk because that's the kind of size and speed that they're looking for to turn a guy into a playmaker at the next level. And I think he has all the tools necessary to be exactly that at the next level. I'm intrigued. Another one of those guys that intrigued me. I walked away from saying, I wanna see where he ends up because he looks the part of a playmaker at the next level. You go to Group 11, of the defensive backs, and the guy that I want to highlight at the top, Zach Sanchez, didn't run his 40, was disappointed by that. Usually when you don't run your 40 and you're healthy, you got something to hide. And I think Zach Sanchez is out of Oklahoma, is one of those guys, not really that fast. Hell of a ball skill football player though. Natural hands, had 7 interceptions I believe last year. The guy can catch the football, okay? And he made plays at Oklahoma. He'll get beaten. That's why I think he didn't run the 40 because he's trying to improve the time, which again, I don't know how much you're really gonna improve your time from now until the pro day. To be honest with you, thought he should have just ran the 40. Then if you didn't like your time, run it again, whatever. To me, he's got ball skills. I saw that on display. Love his movement skills, love his feet. I just think he's gonna be slow and that's gonna turn some teams off. We'll see what happens with Zach Sanchez. That being said, let's jump into group number 11. J-Ron Hosley, 6'4", 216-pound safety out of Clemson. Guy's got all the talent in the world, but I question his ability to tackle, his want to. I don't know if he necessarily wants to. He wants to hit. I don't know if he wants to tackle. 4'6", 240. Good for that kind of size, and I know they beat him up on the telecast, but for his size at 6'4", 4'6", I'll take it all day long. Big, long athlete. Thought he was stiff in a lot of the drills, but he attacks the football. Really good, great ball skills even. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with him. If he can make more of a dedication to tackle, I think J-Ron Kurtz is gonna be a really good football player at the next level. Safety, Miles Killebrew out of Southern Utah. They were ranting and raving about this guy all telecast long. They showed his highlights a number of times. 6'2", 217-pound thumper out of Southern Utah. 4'6", 540, which was a little bit off of what you were expecting because of the vert. I think the vert was right around 40, 38 or 40, something like that. and the broad jump was something like 10.9 or 10.6, something like. He was explosive, is what I'm getting at. And then to run a 4.65 40, it didn't translate like they thought it would, but good movement skills for a thumper either way. Dude is a hitter. And he had okay ball skills. It wasn't great, but I can tell he can make plays on the football, and he's a guy that will attack the football and go after it. So there's a lot here. I'm intrigued. Another one of these guys didn't know anything about. I walked away saying, damn it, I want to see where he ends up because he looks the part of a football player. And at that size, him being an intimidating hitter, I think there's a number of things that he can get better at that will help him be a more well-rounded football player at the next level. Cornerback safety, Jalen Mills out of LSU. Here's another one of these guys you're not sure of what he is when he goes to the next level, sort of like Jalen Ramsey, 6 foot, 191 pound cornerback slash safety hybrid. 4.61 40 lends itself to being a safety, but look, when you look around, Josh Norman, Richard Sherman, these guys all ran sub 4.6 or 4.6 40s, right around 4.6 40s. So, or north of it. So don't just rule a guy out because he runs a 4.6, okay? We're quick to do that a lot of times, but you look at some of the better players around the league. Antonio Brown, as a receiver, ran a 4.57. And don't go crazy over combine time sometimes. We do that sometimes, dismiss guys because of it. Don't do that. And he's one of those guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, great movement skills all day long, impressive ball skills. I thought he caught the football, snatched it out of the air. It was like, this is mine. And I thought, to me, my takeaway from the combine was impressive enough to say, I want to look at you at cornerback first, and if you can't do it there, then I'll move you to safety. But if I'm a team drafting him, I'm looking at this dude strictly as a corner because the feet are sweet, the movement skills are great, and the ball skills are even better. I like what I saw out of Jalen Mills. I want to see him get an opportunity at cornerback. Thought he helped himself in day 4 of the combine. Keanu Neal, safety out of Florida, 6 foot plus, 211 pound safety, 4.6 240. That's a good time for a thumper. This is another one of these guys. He's more physically inclined to hit you than make a play on the football. So for a thumper, that's a good running time to me, even though he doesn't have the size that you're looking like. J-Ron Curse running a 4.62 is different than Keanu Neal running a 4.62, but the difference between the two, Keanu Neal will come up and hit you in your mouth. J-Ron Curse will not, so I don't mind the 4.62 for a thumper. And also had really good ball skills to me, solid ball skills. They weren't great, but they were solid enough for a guy that's gonna come up and hit you in the mouth that's not really looking for the football, but really looking to detach you from the football. Thought he had solid ball skills as well. Jalen Ramsey, the guy that was the main attraction of the day. I thought he just checked all the boxes. I came in with no expectations because I already knew the athlete that he was, so I expected him to time out well, and that he did. 6 foot 1 plus, 209 pounds, 4.4 140. To me, he went out. The thing that I questioned was, can you catch the football? He caught the football. That was the only question I came in with. Because to me, I came into the process with no bias. Everyone was telling me he's a safety, he's a safety, he's a safety. I said, I don't care what he is. He's a football player. But after watching him at the combine, I walked away saying, I can see why most people say he's better as a safety. I get it now. I understand he looked like a safety more so than a corner, but I guarantee you this, most teams are looking at him at cornerback because that's the position that's harder to fill. They're gonna look at him as a cornerback first, and if they don't like him there, they're just gonna move him over to safety, and he's still gonna be a productive football player either way. I think he's a top 5 pick. When it's all said and done, I think someone's going to take him in the top 5. Justin Simmons, safety out of Boston College. Another one of these big guys. Wasn't going to write him down at first. He was just too impressive to pass up. 6'2 plus, 202 pounds, 40-inch vertical, 10.6 broad jump, 4.6 140. Impressive ball skills all day long. Explosive quickness. The explosiveness that he showed in the broad and the vert didn't translate to a 40, but I'm telling you right now, the actual movement skills, the quickness, it's explosive. I'm impressed. I like this kid a lot. I got my eyes on him because I'm like, hey, Redskins, pay attention. This is one of those guys you might be able to sneak and get in the 3rd, 4th round that can come in and help you as a playmaker at safety. I really was impressed with Justin Simmons at the end of the day, and I thought he helped himself at the combine as well. Cornerback Brandon Williams out of Texas A&M, 4.37 40, 5'11 plus, 197 pound corner. Look, he moved from running back to cornerback. He was the one doing all of this nonsense and all of that craziness, and Deion went up and talked to him. He's raw. He's raw. You can tell he just made the switch from running back to cornerback. He's one of those guys with no ball skills, dropped a lot of balls on the day. He's a work in progress. If you're looking for a guy just to take a flyer on later in the draft with some measurables and some speed, I think that's who Brandon Williams is. But I didn't walk away impressed. The only thing that he impressed me with was his speed at 4.37, one of the faster guys of the day. Rashard Robinson, ex-LSU cornerback. This is the guy I talked about on my podcast. Again, if you haven't checked out the podcast, you need to do so. A lot of good nuggets up there. I talked about him needing to kill the interview, but much like Duke Williams, killing the interview wasn't going to be good enough for Rashard Robinson because of the off-the-field issues and being dismissed from his team. And having not played college football all last season, he needed to not only kill the interviews and put that stuff to rest and make them feel comfortable with the person that he is, he also needed to go and kill it on the field. And I didn't think he did that. 4.49 is good. And for his size, that's actually great. I take that back. That's actually great for a 6'2", 6'1 plus 171-pound safety. Again, very light in the trousers, all right? But still, 4.49 for that size. And I wrote down, my gosh, he's long. This is a long guy. Very slow in transition, though. Out of his breaks, driving on the football, I thought he was rather slow there. Was a little disappointed. Really good ball skills, though. So I see why teams are intrigued by him. I just don't know if he performed up to their standards, because I think a lot of people were expecting him to run 4.43 and go out and just blow them away. And I don't think he did that necessarily. But again, at 6'1 and some change, 4.49, that's nothing to laugh at, okay? Don't turn your nose up at 4.49. For that size, that's an athlete there we're talking about. So if he answered well in the interview, that may be good enough for some people to take a flyer on him and put him back on the board. I'm not sure if that's enough to erase what he did off the field. And having not played football last year, I think some people are still gonna have some questions about Rashard Robinson. Safety out of Ohio State, Tyvis Powell, I walked away impressed. I'm gonna tell you right now, 6'2 plus, 211 pounds. Everybody's talking about Von Bell. This is the guy that went unsung across the field from him. 4'4", 640 at 6'2 and some change, 211. 4.46, Ohio State, boy, they pumped out some athletes this year. I'll tell you what, they pumped out some athletes. Long, stiff athlete, okay? Really good ball skills. I walked away intrigued. I said, damn, that's another one of those guys I wouldn't mind getting my hands on as a coach, looking at that size, with that speed, and the ability to go after the football. There is some stuff here, man. And I'm like, if I'm a coach, I want my hands on that kind of clay. That big, long, physical, fast type of clay. That's easy to mold. So Tyvis Powell, another one of those guys I walked away saying, man, you're impressive. And I think he helped himself at the combine as well. And finally, safety, Darian Thompson. I went in with a little bit more expectation for him. Thought I knew who he was as a football player going in. 6'2", 208-pound safety out of Boise State. I thought he was faster than 4.69. I'm not gonna lie to you. Very disappointed in the 40 time. I thought he was a 4.57 guy. I would have took 4.6 flat. But anything north of 4.6, and I was gonna be disappointed. And to run damn near 4.7, really disappointed in his 40 time. And I thought he didn't look explosive in the drills on the field. I thought he looked a little sluggish coming out of back pedals and so forth. So the athleticism is okay, it's solid, it's not great, it doesn't move the needle for me, but great ball skills. We knew that coming out of Boise. He makes plays on the football. That's why I was expecting and really hoping, and that's probably more of what I should have said. I was really hoping that his athleticism would match the ball skills, because if they did, you got yourself a ball player here. And I don't want to diminish what he did, because the tape at the end of the day is going to weigh more heavily than what you see at the combine and even at the pro day. But I'm thinking now, with that time, and if he doesn't improve it dramatically at his pro day, I think he's gonna drop on some teams' boards, and some of these athletic freaks like a Tyvis Powell will kind of start sliding up some of these draft boards. A guy like Miles Killebrew will start sliding up some of these draft boards, because we'll take the guy that's a little bit faster, with a little bit more measurables, if we think we can take him and make him into the football player that we want. Whereas if you don't have the athleticism, I don't know if teams are as willing to take you, but again, it's all about football players. And to me, Darian Thompson, he's a football player. Not the best tackler in the world, but he'll go after the football. Just a little disappointed in his athleticism at the combine. That being said, that is your 2016 NFL Scouting Combine. I thank you for joining me for all 4 days of the combine. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. I got a bunch more draft prospect one-on-one breakdowns to get into. I got a lot of content coming your way. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. That was fun. Combine 2016 in the books. Have a good one. I got more content coming. See you then. There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie Tee, be sure to follow me on Twitter at In The Lab Room, or you can like the Facebook page at In The Lab Room. That's In The Lab Room on Facebook and at In The Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.